was a great show on Broadway called Oliver, which was later made into a movie, but there's a great song in it called Where Is Love? On this Valentine's Day, Dr. Nick joins us with that and more.
Such a great song. Where is love? Will it fall from skies above? Will I ever know the sweet hello that's meant for only me? It's a beautiful, beautiful song.
And does love ever fall
beautiful
from the sky?
song. Well, that's part of the problem, is in the Western society, we're still caught up with Romeo and Juliet and, you know, the maiden being saved, and basically the notion of infatuation. You know, and I read something the other day that I just thought was really powerful, Whitney. It said that we think of love as being blind, and we say that, you know, love is blind, but it's really infatuation that's blind. When I fall in love with someone, I don't see very clearly. I see only what I want to see. There's another show called The Fantastics where they fall in love, and the infatuation's wonderful. And then when the sun comes out the next day, he looks at her and he says, I see your pimples underneath those pounds of powder. Isn't it great? And she says, well, I see that you're a voyeur and you're not. And it's just the sun comes out and we see what really the possibility of love is.
But let me ask you, going back to the infatuation, how long does infatuation last, or can it last? I mean, 20 years into a marriage, it's obviously not infatuation.
It's not infatuation, no. I think infatuation in its finest hours are going to move into a deep, solid, lovingly friendship. That continues to have an in-love quality to it.
Sure.
That I really don't want to be with anyone else but you.
But do experts put a timeline on that?
No, they don't put a timeline. And most experts, I think, would say that infatuation is always the most critical, frightening part of any relationship, because that's what happens when the sun comes up. And then you decide, okay, do I really love this person?
And you hope you haven't gotten married in Vegas the night before.
Right, right. Now that the sun's out and the moonlight's gone, do I really love this person? And one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that in the 60s, 50s, 60s, you know, love was a function. Family was a function. Parenting was a function. The relationship, everybody's roles were clear. Then we get into the 70s and we start talking about things like intimacy.
Right.
And emotional sharing, and what's your love language now? And how do you share your love? And what am I going to put up with you and your quirks? It's like, I want to be in 60 degrees at night sleeping, you know, and you like it as hot as can be. This is the stuff.
Yeah, and you see it every day in therapy, right?
This is the stuff of life. And you know, I think of again, any kind of relationship. When I think of my parents married for 52 years, it blows my mind. And it blows my mind because I know that my father, if he was growing and my mother was growing, they were changing. You know you're not the same person you were when you were in your 20s.
No, when I got married, 20 years down the road. When you got
married, you know you're not the same kind of parent that you were when you first began with Reed. Don't you think?
Sure. So how do people evolve on the same page?
Communication and clarification.
And what happens if
communication and clarification?
Okay. What happens if one's not a good communicator? I know there are wives or husbands sitting out there saying, but I can't get my spouse to really share and talk and be vulnerable. How do you pull that out?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I read the greatest line once. They were in therapy. He said to the therapist, I don't know why we're here. And she said to the therapist, that's why we're here. And, you know, but you see, part of love, again, is humor. It's like some men maybe don't communicate the same way, but I still think that everybody longs for the opportunity to say, this is who I am and what I'm growing into, and this is the way I'm moving and growing. And it may be that, what I guess, Whitney, I would love to see is that this.
Okay.
See, so that when we kind of start moving away from each other, we don't give up on it.
Gotcha.
That we'll find a way of coming back and starting a new chapter, because we'll be different. And our expectations may change, but we're still going to make that journey together because we've made a commitment, and that there is a solid definition of love that's rooted us.
Sure, the foundation is still there, even though circumstances in life may have you turn into the snowman.
Yeah, and if I may challenge, because it's a struggle for me, any kind of commitment's a struggle. You know what I can get most concerned about?
Tell me.
Is that I just think a lot of people in our country right now are resigned to what they're in. And it's like, okay, I'll do this till she gets out of college. Or I'll do this until he graduates from high school, and then I'm out. And I'm like, that is not healthy. Let's deal with it right now. What's the problem?
Okay.
And wherever it leads, we don't know. It may lead to a separation, but at least we can take the moment for what it is, and then I say accept things as they are and not as I would have them.
Well,
and that's not a very good answer to your question, but it's as best as I can do.
Sure.
Accepting as it is and not as I would have it.
yes, yes. Well, and I love the resignation. There's no victory in resignation.
There is no victory
Throwing in the
in
towel and giving
resignation.
up, and people are marking time.
Yes, yes. And then what happens is we start finding other outlets
Yeah.
for joy, like spending or drinking our bottle of wine every night. Really?
Right.
Or
So-
our 3 vodkas.
So one's running up the credit card and the other one's at the bar every night, and well, that's not
Sure,
a
sure.
healthy
Or hunting,
relationship.
let's say, or fishing. Not to make it gender-based.
And not because
but
they really love it, but because it's an escape. Is that it? Is that when it?
Sure, it becomes an escape. Well, and it's also, okay, if this is going to work, I'm going to go find pleasure somewhere. I'm going to go find my outlet somewhere.
Which can be a very slippery slope.
Very slippery slope, yeah. But just very quickly, just what do you do when someone's not communicating? People are always communicating. It's how they communicate.
Not communicating is a way of communicating.
By saying nothing is communication. It's like, what does that mean? That you don't want to talk.
Yeah, and I raise that too because there are oftentimes, you were telling the funny thing about why are we here, in the therapist's office. That's why we're here. You don't think we ought to be here, but one thinks there's no problem, one thinks there is a problem, and sometimes those are growth patterns. But if one thinks there's a problem, there's a problem.
Yeah, there is. I'm just not ready to say that it's necessarily his or hers. We gotta discern that a little bit because again, it could be that one of the partners is always thinking there's a problem.
Right.
And that's not accepting, again, genuine love. Genuine love is that there are gonna be problems. Infatuation ain't no problem. Right? So we can live going from infatuation to infatuation, or we can say, no, I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I'm committed. And I'm also committed to my continued growth and development.
Love is work.
Love is work.
Love for self, love for friends, love for spouse, love for children.
Love for our world. And a genuine kind of love that again says, it's not perfect, I wouldn't care for anything else. I'll take it.
Love.
The perils of humanity are certainly worth it.
Yes, love makes life worth living.
It sure does.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Love you, by the way. Let's go
Love
do
you
Valentine's one of these hours.
It's a great day for brunch or something fun, doesn't it?
But the first time we met was over a 3-hour lunch.
It was. Nothing like breaking bread together. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.
And to all of you too. Much more Weekends with Whitney coming up right after this.